Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
You've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
How you doing today, Josh?
Good, thanks.
Thanks for joining us. So you are Josh Tidal with Cate and Levi. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Fantastic. Can you tell the audience, I'm super excited about this episode. I've been looking at your website, seeing what you guys do. Super pumped to talk to you about your ideas and how you got there. But before we jump in, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Canada, raised and born. I actually now live in Los Angeles because my wife is a TV producer, but my company is still based in Canada. I just work remotely from here most of the time, although I'm back and forth a lot. Pretty normal upbringing. Nothing too crazy, but I always sort of had the entrepreneurial bug in me. So not surprising that I'm doing what I'm doing. I did go to, I went to university. I did a general undergrad degree in economics and poli-sci. And then I actually went to law school, really with no intention of practicing law, but just to further my education. And then just sort of started on an entrepreneurial path.
All right. So is Cate and Levi your first venture, or have you?
No, I had no, prior to Cate and Levi, I had started a leather company more than 20 years ago, that I started while I was in law school. And essentially I had a business partner and we manufactured leather journals and other gift items in Toronto, and we sold mostly through brick and mortar stores in the US, including Borders Books at the time. And I kept that up while I was in law school, and then I committed to it full time after law school. And ultimately, I sold it to a private equity firm in Boise, Idaho. Took some time off, and then started Cate and Levi.
Awesome. All right, so this is technically your second venture. I mean,
Yeah,
over a long period of time, but
yeah.
So a good exit on the leather company, and then start Cate and Levi. I'd rather you tell it, because I love the story. I mean, just the stacking on how you, the sustainability, the giving back, who it is and why you do it. All those stories resonated with me pretty loudly. So instead of me saying how I think about it, can you tell the audience a little bit about, the Cate and Levi story? What is that all about? And what is it, the products that you sell?
Yeah, sure. So
or manufacture, right? You don't just sell them, you're manufacturing as well.
Yeah. So when I sold the last business, I took a little bit of time off, and it was the same time that my wife and I started our family, and my first son Levi was born. And in anticipation of his birth, I was sort of checking out the kids market. I didn't know very much about it, and what I noticed is that anything that was eco-friendly, organic, it was very granola looking, like very beige and plain, and didn't have a lot of detail that I would have liked. So just in my explorations, I actually found a woman in Canada who was making really beautiful throw blankets and other household accessories out of recycled wool sweaters, and sort of had that light bulb moment, and asked her, commissioned her to do some stuffed animals for my son out of the same materials. And the outcome was amazing. Like I love them. Everyone I showed them to loved them. So without too much thought about, the business model, I went to a trade show in the US, which is how I built the last business, and started selling to a few brick and mortar stores. And just on a very small scale, with a small studio factory, started producing these stuffed animals, and it kind of grew from there.
Awesome. So bootstrap the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. So Cate and Levi today, you sell a line. It's a line of different stuffed animals, correct?
It's stuffed animals, a lot of hand puppets, some clothing, some clothing items. Beginner sewing craft kits, which are really popular, especially through the pandemic. So the line has certainly grown, but the common theme throughout is that they're all, wherever possible, the materials are as eco-friendly as they can be, and the production is all kept in Canada in our studio factory.
Right. And it's all reclaimed material from Canada or globally?
So the wool sweaters that we use are all reclaimed materials that we source in Canada. Once upon a time, they could have originated anywhere in the world, but the ones that we're using, we source in Canada. So ultimately, they're sweaters that you and I would have worn, eventually gotten rid of because they might have developed a little hole, or maybe they shrunk, or maybe the style changed,
Right.
and we ultimately source those, clean them, A, for obviously cleanliness, but B, so that the material, we clean them in a very hot solution so that the material felts and gets a little bit thicker, and then it comes into our factory for design, cut, sew, finish.
Fantastic. So employing people in Canada,
Yeah.
right? Utilizing resources. How hard is it to get these sweaters? Like, do you have a place that you buy them from, or do you have a system where people can donate their old sweaters?
No, we have a place that we buy them from, because
Okay.
there's a very, it's a particular quality and style
Yes.
that we're looking for. So we've tried the donation thing. It just doesn't work because it's just what comes in is too random, and it's just not cost effective, either for the person who's donating or for us to receive it. So
Right.
we buy them. We have a pretty strong relationship with a company in Ontario that sorts and sells used clothing. And that's how the production starts.
So I guess it's safe to say then every Cate and Levi toy is unique.
Yeah, so for the wool collection, that is true. So if you're looking at the wool dog puppet on our website, what you get is not going to be the same color and pattern as what you see. But what we found is, like, as long as we maintain a certain quality, the customer actually loves that. So they like the surprise element. It's not a wearable, so you're not trying to match, your shirt to your tie. So it works. We also have another line made out of polar fleece, where a percentage of that material is made from recycled plastic. And with that collection, what you see is in fact what you get. So for those that are not comfortable with the one-of-a-kind aspect, we do offer same styles, but in polar fleece. So they're always bright. They're always, what you see is what you get. They're super soft. There is a small percentage of the population that it has a wool allergy or finds it itchy. So, it's just it's an alternative for those that are looking for it.
Okay. So the whole thing starts with a crazy idea to have this local lady that makes quilts build stuffed animals out of these reclaimed, catches on, and you run with it. Sales, I'm assuming you're pretty good right now.
Yeah, sales are strong. Listen, it's a small business,
Right.
and there's only two partners, myself and my business partner who runs the production now. But all of our employees get paid above minimum wage. We don't carry any debt. We're profitable every year, and it's just a small solid business where we're looking for responsible growth every year that we can sort of scale up to.
I love that. I've been involved in the startup world for 20 something years, and the companies that have that mentality, I think, have more longevity than these, the predicted hockey stick growth kind of companies. So I think it's great. Now, all this also is going on. You're commuting back and forth between LA and Canada. You got your shop out there. Can you tell us a little bit about the concept or actually not even the concept. Let's step back a second. What's the cancer camp for the children about, right? So I read something about, I don't want to misquote what the website said, is that every purchase helps or sends a kid with cancer to camp?
Help. So with each purchase, we give a percentage of the profits to this camp at the end of the year. And the reason why we started working with them was they called us a number of years ago to say, like, hey, we have these we have these kids that are affected by cancer. Either they have it or a family member has it, and you have such a cool looking factory in Toronto. Like, could we bring the kids by for a visit? And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Yes, of course. Like,
Yeah.
what kid doesn't, it's like going to Willy Wonka's,
Yes.
factory. Like, of course, that's an amazing idea. So when I was living in Canada and much prior to COVID, we would have a day a year where we would set up a workshop for them. They would come in, they would make stuffed animals. We would have, we would fill the place with candy, and we'd order, we always had like an ice cream truck come by. So it was just
Right.
like a fun day. But then it got to the point where we weren't able to run those days anymore. So we turned it into a give back. And now a percentage
Okay.
of profits goes to the camp, so that, to help send a child to the camp in the summer who couldn't otherwise afford it.
Right. And that, I love that whole concept. So you were having these kids from the camp, that cancer support camp, right? Is that
Yeah.
coming in and building these stuffed animals? I mean, that's an entire business model all by itself, right? And Build-A-Bear knocks it out of the park, having little shops in the mall where kids can come in and build their bears. So I think that's really cool. But so when the pandemic hit, you're like, okay, since we can't do that anymore, let's give back to this camp in a different way.
Yeah, and not just the pandemic, but like as the factory grew and as it became a little bit more structured, it was hard to close down for a day, and it just morphed into a give back, which is equally as important, just because it's an amazing service that they provide. Essentially, it's a camp that allows kids that couldn't otherwise have this outdoors experience to have it. So
Right.
we want to continue to be part of that. So long as we're profitable and we're successful, our plan is to always keep increasing our give back.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. Those kids, I mean, there's so many kids in need in this world. You got to, if you're going to give back, you got to pick something. And I love this story about how you chose that. I see a lot of, the narrative in starting a business is that if you start it with the intention of giving back, you'll be more successful. And I like your story a little better than, oh, I've got to give to something, so let's just pick some random charity and say that, a percentage goes there. You have a real story behind the why you're doing this particular charity and program. And I think that is, to me, more important than just picking something randomly. Do you think that aligning yourself with this particular charity or any charity, do you associate that to some of the success? I mean, some companies will say that they their give back is all of their success. But
I wouldn't sit here and say that it's all of our success, but it certainly feels good at the end of the day, at the end of the year, when you can cut that check. Right. And while we're when we're trying to grow this year, and we're trying to be more profitable and more successful, it's like in the back of my head, am I thinking about increasing the size of that donation? Absolutely. Like it's definitely a motivating factor. So nothing feels better, because it shows that it's like, people complain about paying taxes, but it's like, if you're fortunate enough to pay a lot of taxes, you're doing something right, you're making money. And it's sort of the same with the charitable give back. Like if we can keep increasing the size of that check, then guess what? Everyone's doing well, including us. It's not, we're not a not-for-profit by any stretch of the imagination, but we're proud of what we've built.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's fantastic across the board. So, but there's some inherent problems with your product being so niche and so, the pipeline. You can't really put a lot of your products on store shelves, right? It's pretty much all direct to consumer.
No, actually, funny enough, we actually sell through a lot of brick and mortar stores, but not chains and not big box. We sell through a lot of mom and pop shops. And that, that's a really important part of our formula. Because they're great supporters of our line, but B, because by the nature of what we sell, it being one of a kind, it's very different consuming our product online. You're not just buying a book and what you see is exactly what you get. It's like a very intimate purchase. So in a lot of cases, like, people will email us and say, hey, I want to see exactly what I'm getting. Can you, do you have a picture of it? And the answer is no. Like that's not that's not something we could necessarily do, showing everyone exactly what they're going to get if they order from our website. But what I can do is refer them to an awesome, mom and pop shop in their town, hopefully, if there is one. And they can go and choose the one that they like. And if they love it, if they walk into the store and they love it and they get that it's one of a kind, it's like, it's great.
I think the fact that it's one of a kind, it makes it really special.
Yeah. So we have amazing stores all across the USA and Canada that we sell to. And it's our second biggest channel.
Right. I mean, I grew up in a time where my great grandma would make me quilts, stuffed animals and stuff. And the fact that it was the only one made it, well, in fact, it came from grandma helped a lot too. But, that made it more special to me that this was made, for me or for somebody in our family. And it was the only one that existed. So I think that's super special. And I would definitely lean into that particular part of your products and services. So on your website, is there a list of places that you can purchase your products in these mom and pop stores nationwide, or?
Generally people ask us, I guess we could, it's not about it. Like we've talked about it. We haven't actually listed it on our site. Maybe we will. But people ask us all the time.
Right. And then, so how many stores are you nationwide? Or are you kind of catered to one geographical area?
We're across US and Canada. So hundreds of stores.
Okay. So there's a potential that there's a store near you that carries a Cate and Levi product.
Absolutely.
Right. And you do small mom and pops because you can do small batch manufacturing, send it out to them and have those really nice relationships with folks, right?
Yeah. And also part of it is just dictated by the price points, right? Like we're it's a high variables that we talked about. So those stores, I think people go into a mom and pop store, beautiful gift store, or a high-end toy store, expecting to see nicer merchandise at higher price points versus what they might see in big box. So it's just a perfect product channel fit.
Right. And the small mom and pops, what if you're a small mom and pop shop and you say, hey, I want to start carrying Cate and Levi, what's like a minimum number purchase? Is it 10 or 100 units?
Honestly, anywhere in between. Probably not 10, maybe a couple dozen, up to a couple hundred, just depending on the size of your business and also the time of year. A lot of it'll increase in fourth quarter, obviously for the holidays. But we're flexible. Like we love our retail partners. So if it's a smaller store and they want to try a dozen puppets, no problem. That's awesome.
Right. Awesome. Do you help them with display stuff too, like a canned display that you can ship it in, or
it's not?
They put it on the shelves themselves?
We find that our stores they want to do their own merchandising, in keeping it in theme with other products that they have. So some things we have made easier for them, like the hand puppets. Always ship with a cardboard tube inside so that you can, gives it a little bit of body and you can stand it up wherever you like in the store, and that seems to work. But ultimately, they really know how they want to display it. So there's not a lot of plastic. There's not a lot of hang tags. Like it's just, it's pretty organic.
Absolutely. And in my mind, this is Main Street mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
First Street, Main Street, wherever you're at in the country, that's where you would find your kind of products, thrift shopping and stuff like that, right? Not necessarily thrift shopping, but
more like higher end boutiques. But
we've got a place in St. Charles called, or St. Louis, St. Charles Main Street. And it's got all these little shops and people are walking up and down all day long. And there's all these really high-end custom stuff and all those shops, right?
And the truth is that, in the first year of the pandemic, that business went pretty quiet. Like that was not surprising in retrospect, but super quiet. But now it's coming back strong, really strong. Retail
is coming back pretty good right now on the brick and mortar storefronts. People are they're itching to get out and do stuff. So it's been a lot of fun post pandemic in growing some of the brick and mortar businesses that I deal with. So I've had just been having so much fun with that this year. But the pandemic for you, did that shoot online sales way up when people are now online looking for stuff to do inside their house to entertain their family?
It did, both from our website and also from Amazon. So Amazon's a big part of the business now. And during the pandemic, that really kept the lights on. That first March when things broke, it was a scary time. We weren't sure which direction it was going to go in.
Right.
But ultimately, I think we had the right product at the right time, and parents had their kids at home and they were looking for ways for kids to unplug and more organic play items, and it worked. Like we're strong. So
right on the Amazon, for the folks out there watching that are thinking about doing Amazon or doing Amazon, do you do direct ship to consumer or do you do Amazon fulfillment center?
We do Amazon fulfillment. So I think so Amazon warehouses our products across the nation, and then when the order comes in, they do the fulfillment for it.
Right. And they handle the returns and everything, right?
Everything.
Right.
Everything.
How hard was that for you to get that system set up?
Not a bit of a learning curve, but not that hard.
It's pretty simple.
Listen, millions of sellers are doing it, so it's so you can too. But listen, it took a little bit of trial and error and just getting it working properly. But like anything, it's like it wasn't overnight success. It took time. We've been on it for years. You got to build up a reputation. You got to build up reviews. It's it takes time. But in retrospect, when I look back at the history of Cate and Levi, one of the most important things we did was investing the time and the effort years ago to get that set up. And now it's humming. Like now it works.
Right.
But it takes time. You can't start today from a standing start and expect to have a business going in the near future. It's going to take time.
Yeah, and for that, right? So one of my biggest pet peeves is all these guys online, buy my product and you'll be rich tomorrow, and I'll show you how to do Amazon fulfillment or all this stuff, right? It's all, in my mind, mostly, these fake side hustle guys trying to, they're good at transferring your money into their pocket is their biggest talent.
And when I see those, I always think like, if they were really that good, they would just do it for their own products.
Right. So, but to give people a realistic expectation, right? You make a toy, a product for kids, family, wholesome, giving back, right? You check all the boxes, right? In your business today, but it still took time to build. For the person that's, they're 3 weeks into their project and they've not made a sale yet, how long was it when you first started asking for sales before you started getting any significant amount of sales?
On Amazon or in general?
Let's just use Amazon for the Amazon fulfillment center, right?
Yeah, listen, there were small sales, almost right away.
Right.
But it took a couple of years to really get that, to really plant that flag. Like we have two product lines on Amazon now that have over 1,000. I think one's just under 1,000 reviews and one's just over 1,000 reviews. Both are 4.5 stars, which is great. But it took a long time, and that's like one sale at a time. And I don't know, 1 in 10 does a review. Like it's not
right. You get 1,000 reviews. I would think. I mean, I would assume with a toy, with a consumable product or a product like that, right? Consumer good. 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 100 might give you a review.
Yeah, I mean, it took years, but the good news is like we always took a multi-channel approach. Yes. So we didn't just set up on Amazon and only focus on that. We were selling to stores initially, and then we focused a little bit on our own website, and then we layered on Amazon, and we also have Etsy. And then there's some special projects going on the side. So it's like we were never all in on one channel.
You should never do that. That is great advice to never go all in on one channel. if you do that, you cannot defend your position. That one channel can steal your business instantly or ban your business, right? I mean, I've had businesses before where Facebook just said, oh, you can't market that here anymore, right?
Yeah.
And Google as well, right? I know the hunting industry took a giant hit a few years ago with all of that. That's not just guns, it's also ammo and holsters and all kinds of other stuff. But so that's great advice, not to stick to one channel. And folks, if you're watching and you've got a product that you're trying to sell it, you're selling 1 or 2 a month in the beginning, it's okay. You keep trying. If you're selling something, keep going, right?
Yeah.
That means that there's some kind of demand out there. You just got to get your messaging right and your product line right and the pricing right. So, but it is challenging. The thought process of, oh, I can put it on the internet, we'll start selling tomorrow, is not a good narrative to have. I think it's bad for people to think that, oh, I can just do this and it's really easy, because I've seen families lose all their money because they wanted to start an online store and they thought it would be easy. And they didn't have a whole lot of it doesn't look like it's a big capital expense, right? When you start.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just testing, right? Like some products are great for direct to consumer. Some are better for wholesale. Some are better for big box. So it's just test. Absolutely.
Josh, I love your product. I'm definitely going to be a customer. I've got a 10-year-old at home that loves soft, cuddly stuff. He also loves hard banging stuff, but so definitely be a client. I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And the give back is huge. I wish more companies would focus on that. So before we go, is there anything you'd like to leave the audience? Special tips, tricks, words of advice?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, looking back on my experience, I would say, try, be open to trying lots of different things, whether it's product design or different, or different product markets. And really it just comes down to like that channel, product channel fit, product market fit. And when it works, it really works. But again, it's like, this is a get rich slow plan that I'm on. This is not, we don't raise money. We don't acquire customers at unprofitably. Sometimes, we try things all the time that don't work. And then once in a while you get it right. So I would just say, you gotta be patient, and and if someone's selling you on something that sounds like it's probably too good to be true, probably it is.
Right. I hear all the time, don't have a plan B. If you have a plan B, then plan A is destined to fail. And I kind of like, man, I've got plan A through Z. Like if one of them doesn't work, I got to try, some different stuff. And some things just take longer to work than others, right? Amazon takes a little bit to get the wheels going, where you can kind of throw a Google ad up and maybe get some sales pretty quickly, right? And they're not as profitable as sales, but they're there.
Well, listen, I started Amazon, probably 5 years ago, and it was a small business for a while. And now it's a significant part of what we do. But when I look back, like so much effort, so much work has gone into it, day in and day out. But thank God we did it, and thank God we stuck with it, because it took time, but now it's very important to us.
Were there moments when it was slow that you're like, why do I keep chugging on this Amazon thing? Or did you have faith the whole time? Okay.
Well, it's like I always try to do it profitably. So I wasn't like throwing good money after bad and it was bleeding. Like it was always working on a small scale, but it just took time for it to scale. So yeah, I wouldn't say like on that channel, I would say I always believed it was going to work. It was just going to take time. Now, listen, it's much more crowded today than it was when I started. Could you start, what would the experience be like starting from ground zero right now on Amazon? Probably harder. Can it still be done? Yeah, someone's going to cut through the noise.
Yeah, and in my mind, if you love your product and you're doing good things with it, it's really easy to shine for that product that you really love. If you're really putting 100% effort into everything you're doing, right? I think that's the key in my head is if you really, really love what you're doing, you'll figure out a way to shine above, or you won't even figure it out. It will just shine on its own.
Right. And you need, listen, and that's exactly right. You need a good product, and no amount of marketing is going to compensate for a bad product. So
no, not at all. Unless on the flip side of that is if you're a commodity product, right?
Yeah.
Then that's all you have is your marketing. If it's just a commodity product, but you've got a very specific, unique product that helps with all kinds of issues for childhood growth and stuff like that. So, and you're reclaiming and you're giving back. So you're helping the environment, all of those things, and supporting local business. So I love everything you're doing. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.
All right. Bye. All right. That's it. Chris will edit it up. Your episode 198 aired May 24th is what we have going out. We'll throw links to the Amazon store and all that stuff in the bio. You'll get an email the week before it goes live and the day it goes live.
Awesome. How long have you been doing this?
In this format, about 8 months.
Okay.
Trying to get a successful YouTube channel up about 5 years. So this started as my main gig. I operate a data center. So we do hosting, right? E-commerce, mostly corporate, mostly B2B hosting. And I was so sick of cold calling. Like it was just destroying my life, trying to get these sales and shit. So I said, well, I'm going to just start this podcast and try to get leads that way. And it started really clunky and shitty. And I called my biggest shareholder. And I'm like, hey, I really like talking to these business owners about their business and stuff. And every time if I hide it under a podcast as the disguise behind why my cold call is, they see right through it. It's fake. And I can't get them to talk to me real about anything. So I'm like, I just want to kind of try this and see what happens. And he's like, yeah, let's go for it. So I still operate the data center. And this is just our little side project, one of our side projects that we're running and seeing what happens. What we've created, and I didn't realize that we created it, is a really great community of business owners and founders. So I'm talking with a couple people right now. I think in June, we're going to have our first meetup. And I've got a guy that from Streamcast or something like that. He's going to give a 15-minute presentation on how you can launch a podcast to help your business. Maybe not direct leads, but just how to support your business. And then the second one's going to be how to knock your LinkedIn profile out of the park. And it's a 15-minute presentation from them. And then we'll do a 30-minute just meet and greet with all the different founders and stuff, like a speed dating video chat kind of deal. It's really fun. So we're putting that together now, not charging for that either. And what comes of this, I don't know.
Cool.
So, but we're funded from the data center. So, the board's kind of like, well, if you can manage the data center and do this, it might go viral. So let's just keep trying. And then,
where is the data center?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Is that where you're from?
Yes. So born and raised in St. Louis, went to WashU and Webster University. I've been here since I left the entertainment industry in '99 and came to work in IT and to try out that internet thing. And all my music industry friends are like, film and music are like, dude, that internet's a fad. It's going to go away. So they all have more money than I do today. But they're also just, not working anymore. So
Right.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I made the right decisions for me throughout that whole process, but
Cool.
So this has just been super fun, and I don't have to cold call anymore. So the board has taken any specific sales agenda off my plate. So I don't have to have I don't have a revenue agenda anymore.
That's
other than my data center, and I still have a sales process for that. So the only ones that I really try to bring into the sales cycle are if I talk to a guy that owns a managed service provider. So, and then this helps you grow, and then rising tides. We should, as we go out, we get a successful show, you get some, you might get a couple people from different retail shops calling you to say, hey, I'd like to have your products in my store, right?
How many episodes have you done?
You're 198.
And how many listeners are there on average?
It ranges. So you'll get about 2,000 views the first week on YouTube. And right now we're focusing on YouTube right now, trying to get the video done. And then we'll go to iTunes and all those others. So we're really just trying to figure out that YouTube. 2,000 on an average video. You'll have an option to buy a press release for $250. We'll write it, post it. Those episodes get about 4,000 views. But we took off this month. We haven't published anything since March 31st. And our March 31st episode, which was a recap of the first 100 something episodes, got 15,000 views the first day. So I'm not sure when we come back on May 1st and start releasing again, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Interesting.
But I've got a lot of traveling coming up. I've hit the right circles because I got a meeting with Gary Vee on the 23rd, and I get to
with him or with his firm
at the VidFest out there in Vegas. So, or I've got a chance to meet with him. But then Damon John, I've got a mastermind with him in early May. So, because I just also graduated from, you're familiar with Billie Jean's Academy?
No.
Billie Jean is marketing. He's in San Diego. He did stuff he's the guy behind the I Heart Kickboxing free pair of gloves. He's done a whole bunch of big campaigns for Geico and shit like that. So I just graduated from his academy, and that graduation's in June 2nd in San Diego. So I'll be out there for that. And then PodFest also is in next month too. So we're traveling almost at the end of this month. I'm traveling for 4 weeks straight, just out from city to city. So
that's cool. And is your demographic mostly male?
It is mostly male, not by intent. I do interview a lot of females, and actually one of my interviews yesterday was a lady that specifically does marketing for toy companies. She just started her firm. She left Disney. She was in charge of the Disney Princess line, and she just started her own firm not too long ago, working with a toy company out of LA. I cannot think of the name of the company, but it's a toy company that sells experience. So they have a Thomas the Train experience that travels across all their stores and stuff like that. Start with the C. I can't recall the name off the top of my head, but
what's her name? I'll check her out.
I have yesterday's notes. Look at that. One of these two. Hold on. Lindsay Johnson. LINDSAY.
Is there a company name?
Yeah, I got it. Oh no, she's the wrong one. I'm sorry. Lana, LANA Kelso.
Sorry, that's her company name?
I gave you the wrong name first.
Oh, okay.
It's not Lindsay Johnson. She was the other lady that I talked to. Lana Kelso is her name. Looking for her website. She's in Dallas now. I honestly think it's just LanaKelso.com, and it's KELSO.
Okay.
But she doesn't have a whole lot of clients right now either. She's got the one, her anchor client. So
yeah, but you never know. It's I feel like this is the essence of what I do, right? You mention a random person to me who left a big toy company, and next thing you know, this is what I do. I follow every lead.
And I'm sorry, I scratch all that again because I've got her actual. It was 2 days ago. Erica is her name. And she was 20 years with Disney. And the company that she's working with right now is called Camp Stores, C-A-M-P.
Camp Stores?
Yeah, C-A-M-P Stores. And it's an experiential play space that prides itself in the family experience. And they're new and growing.
Interesting.
And her website is Erica Leonard, ERICALENARD.com.
Sorry, can you repeat their website one more time?
Erica Leonard, ERICALENARD.com.
Okay, cool.
She might be able to, I don't know, she might be able to help you out. She's super smart chick, and she really likes this. So her marketing is all around family experience stuff, right? Stuff. And then her whole concept is making content that is co-shareable, like, oh, honey, come here and look at this kind of stuff, right? But yeah, she's super bright chick, and she's got the credentials to back it up. But
Okay, cool.
yeah,
I'll
fun
check it
stuff.
out.
So yeah, it's worth a shot. And if nothing else, Camp Stores, I mean, they're coming. I mean, basically, they're trying to figure out how to have a toy store that doesn't die like Toys R Us. Right? If Toys R Us would have had experiences, who knows? They would have been a little better off. Right? They'd maybe be here today. So, but awesome. Cool.
Great, man.
That's all we got, Josh. We'll talk again soon, or not, probably not soon, but in the next couple of weeks or so, you'll get an email from us also outside of the episode inviting you to our first event.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Awesome.
Nice
Thanks,
meeting
Josh.
you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye. That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.